everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation, and my guest today is Roberta Rosa, as I'm pronouncing in Portuguese. She's a coach and the creator of Fill the Void programs. Her mission is to uncover the dysfunctions within the system and help others awaken, liberate themselves from the chains that bind them, embrace their authentic selves without judgment, connect with their vulnerability, and rewrite their life stories. So this is the short bio of Roberta. At the end, we'll have the full bio at the end of this video. So one of the questions that I love to ask Roberta to everyone that I meet is, who are you in your own words? How would you describe yourself in this moment?
Oh, what a nice question. Thank you for the nice introduction. How would I describe myself right now? I feel I'm 29 years old and I feel I've lived like three lives in one
Yeah.
until now. And exactly right now in my life, I feel I have this like new opportunity to like reinvent myself where I'm really truly following my passion and what I always wanted to. And this is this thing where I felt a calling and where I'm able to help other people because of my life experience and being able to bring back to the world everything that I've learned. I feel I'm at this point right now in my life.
I love that. Of sharing, right? There's something about share when we are ready to share. I often ask the question of the purpose of life. What is the purpose of the human experience? I usually ask that question too here. And I get the answer all the time that is to help others. It's to contribute, to do something, to leave this reality a better one. Do you agree with that? And the second question is, do you wonder why that is, that we have this desire to help others?
Yeah, first of all, I think that when everybody says like the purpose of life, it's like such
Yeah.
a big thing that sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming for everyone to think like, oh, like what is my
Yeah.
purpose in life? And everybody's in this search to find the purpose of life. But I think the purpose of life is something that you create and you have to build through your life. Like you have to visualize
Right.
what you want and move every day and every little step towards that you want to build, first of all.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, I feel the purpose of life. You have to create that you envision, and it always comes down to this helping others because when we are born, I think we are born and we go through life with like our egos, like trying with our egos out, trying to show or learn and take from everything we can to learn until we reach this point where it could have gone well or bad, but we reach this point where we feel like we have to connect to the world and to the people around us in another way. I feel this doesn't happen to
Right.
everyone, but it depends on the person and what that person has gone through. But I think that helping others is a way to feel another type of satisfaction that is not
Mm.
from any like material thing or any action that we do to have that instant gratification.
For personal gain, right? Try to always do it for
Yeah.
ourselves only. You mentioned the ego. That's a very interesting concept. In spirituality, it is very much explored what the ego is. How to describe what is your understanding of what the ego is?
I know the ego it's a defense mechanism that we humans have uh, that comes out like the goal of the ego is to
Mm.
defend
Yeah.
ourselves. Is to defend ourselves from that we feel threatened. It could be somebody telling us something or we feeling vulnerable against something else. So our ego comes out like a shield to protect us. But sometimes that shield to protect us can bring other problems because the ego doesn't know that that shield may be hurting another person or or
Right.
or so. So I feel it's like a double edged sword sometimes. But that's why the key in life, in my opinion, is being able to develop a lot of self awareness, to be able to detect these little things, these little hints that we have inside, and are these hints where the ego comes up to defend us. If we are able to see that, we are able to transform it into something else that will serve us in a better way.
So true. And in a way, by serving us in a better way, as you speak, ended up helping others and also serving others and the world in our environment. I noticed that to be true. I don't know if we can actually navigate this reality without this so-called ego, because it's a protective mechanism and it's always trying to protect the body, right? So we don't lose it in one of the experiences we engage in. It's such a fascinating thing. And as I said to you off record, I'm very much into spirituality. One of the philosophies that I follow is Vedanta, is an Hindu, Advaita Vedanta is a Hindu philosophy. It goes really deep into the nature of reality and what this is. So I have to ask you this question: what is your idea of spirituality? What is to be spiritual, Robert?
In my opinion, to be spiritual is, and the way I practice it, is the connection of myself with nature. I believe in something greater than all of us, and I think that is like the Mother Earth. In Spanish, we call Pachamama, you know.
Mm,
Um, the universe itself, it's such a big and powerful energy. Um, and I think we humans forget that in our daily lives, and how the world has evolved and how we are living in current times. We forget that because humans, you know, we were wild creatures running in the wild, gathering fruits from the land. And you know, we see how we are living right now, and we're completely
yeah,
disconnected from
yeah.
that.
Mm,
So I think it's very important to have some time to be able to connect with that primal state of human being, very, very primal, and being able to connect to nature in some way. Also, like, you know, the natural disaster, the waves, the
yeah.
winds, everything is so powerful. So the way I connect to something greater than us is through nature. I
Mm,
feel that the ultimate power of everything here in this dimension that we are is nature.
that's a powerful message, one that everybody connects with. Yes, there's something about nature that reflects like this pure being, or what's the pure essence of what spirituality is, or God is. It's true. But there's something for me, I always wanted to go deeper and deeper, and what is this? And now I do understand that we are also nature. We are not apart from nature. We are not apart from anything. So we can find that connection within. Once we really realize what we are, not even who we are, then it's, for me, that has been incredible. Then that's realized, wait a minute, God is here, the spirit is here, everything is here.
Yes, but also, like, you know, sometimes we humans, we live so disconnected from ourselves because of how we live, like technology, our work. We have so many distractions that we forget to connect with ourselves, and therefore it's very
Mm,
difficult to connect
yeah.
to other things, even to other people. I always say that to be able to connect with other people or love other people or even connect to nature or whatever it is, you first have to be able to connect with yourself.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the first.
That's really fundamental, because that's the first disconnect I remember having as a child. I was disconnected from myself, and then everything else looked disconnected, fragmented and broken. It was just
Yeah.
not a good place to be in. So, in speaking of trauma, talk to me about your own life story. Of course, we don't want to I don't go into details when it comes. I wrote a book about it even, but I don't usually disclose, kind of, unless it's asked, but I don't think it's necessary to go into details. But um, talk to me about your overall journey through suffering and then healing.
Okay. It all started in Argentina. I was born in Buenos Aires, and since I was very young, I always had like a gift with sports and with the connection
Yeah.
to my body. Like
Uh,
when I was younger, I always felt my emotions in my body. I never felt it with my brain. I couldn't think like, oh, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm this, I'm that. I just felt everything in my body, and I wanted to like run away, or I wanted to like
Uh,
throw things, So I always had a connection, a very strong connection with my body. Therefore, I was really good at every sport since I was young. So my parents encouraged me to develop my skills in different sports, until I discovered field hockey, where I started playing field hockey when I was 10 years old, more or less. And I became really, really good at it. So when I was 17 years old, I was already playing in like the top team in my club. And therefore, um, after a lot of training, it's to become good at something, it's a constant repetition of the same thing over and over again.
uh,
And so I ended up playing in the national team of field hockey for Argentina. And I was very young. I was the youngest player in the team. I was like 18, 19, 20 years old.
yeah.
Um, and so I was able to play in the national team for a couple of years until I suddenly realized that I was missing something, in life, because I had to quit school, quit high school. So I also realized that all the people my age were living things that I couldn't even live. I didn't have time. I was only training. My friends had girlfriends, boyfriends. They were going out. I wasn't able to do that life. I only had to
Right.
focus in training. And so I started to become like, even my body changed. I was surrounded by girls that were 30 years old. I was a teenager. So then when I went back to school and I was comparing myself with other girls, I saw I like my body, I felt huge. So that like I started developing like a lot of body
Uh,
dysmorphia, and then I realized, that I had reached the top level in that sport in my country. I saw what it is, I felt it. And at such a young age, it was like a lot of success. Imagine going into a
uh,
stadium full of like millions of
yeah.
people shouting, like, to be honest, there's nothing better than that. There's nothing that would come close to how I felt when I entered the
Mm,
stadiums. It's something that completely fulfills you, and, it feeds your ego in a way. So also, as I told you, uh, I felt everything through my body. So I always, I was always seeking for extreme sensations in my body in any way, and the sport provided me with that. So it came to a point where, after some years, I saw what that is. I fulfilled my ultimate goal in life. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do this for 10
right.
more years. When I'm 30, like the sport has an end, it comes to an end. Your body cannot do that forever. So I said, I have to quit this and I have to study.
Right.
I have to like start a new life. And so basically, I quitted the sport, and it was the best decision I made. But at the time, I couldn't see that. The only thing I saw was myself as a failure, and that I couldn't keep on doing that I trained and looked for all my life. So that feeling of frustration and failure created a huge void inside me. I felt empty. I didn't know where to go. I was a teenage girl. And basically, all the energy that I put into a sport, I started redirecting that energy into wrong places, such as going out, partying, using, there were drugs involved. And myself, as a very extreme sensation seeker and dopamine seeker person, I was looking for these dopamine hits
Yeah.
constantly in
Yeah.
everything I did, with sex, with drinking, in socializing. And so I entered this path of excesses, and I was trapped in this cycle for many, many years, because
Yeah.
it's very difficult when you're so numb with all these distractions, just filling yourself up to numb yourself from the pain that you're feeling, because it's very difficult to connect when something makes you feel uncomfortable. So the only thing I wanted to do was numb that, you know. There's different ways that sadness is manifested. It could be manifested in like being depressed and crying, not being able to lift yourself up from bed,
Yeah.
or going and doing things to cover and numb every feeling. And that was my way. And so basically I was trapped in those cycles that I couldn't get out, until my best friend
Mm.
caught me, and she went to my
Yeah.
parents. And thank God, her name is Sol. I
Yeah.
love her. She
Mm.
was, I thank her every day of my life, because she's the one that saved me. And since that time, when my parents got involved, I started like my healing path, where I started going to therapy. I had to literally relearn how to, even the fact of registering what emotion was happening inside my body, with my brain, with my heart. I had to relearn all of these techniques to be able to have a new and different relationship with myself, and therefore being able to have a relationship like with my friends. I had also to learn how to relate to my parents again. There's a lot of anger, pain, sadness involved that you have
Yeah.
to heal. So basically what healed me is, uh, through therapy and then coaching, being able to
Mm.
connect with myself in different ways, using both
Yeah.
intelligences. The two intelligent parts that we have in our bodies are heart and our brain. If we only
Mm.
think with the brain, we're not
Mm.
connecting with the body. So I had to learn, and that's what healed me, the pure connection with myself, not lying to myself anymore. And the most important word, that I say always, it's
Mm.
acceptance.
Mm.
Accepting whatever you have to accept. That's the first step towards any healing.
Wow. You made me emotional when you talked about your friend because that almost felt like an angel, somebody that yeah, and really
Yeah.
touched me because I have had, of course, friends like that too. But yeah, in your case, that was really needed, and she was right there in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
How amazing how we go through all these ups and downs in life to find ourselves again. Roberta, I really trust
Yeah.
life that as being life itself, I really believe that we are nature, we are life. And as long as we are out of balance, it will look for balance. Like nature, it's always looking to balance itself. So I
Yes,
really feel like
exactly.
that, like not just as individuals, as collective. We all like trying to balance one another and find this peace and happiness, bringing all this harmony back. So when you speak of the healing, how you found it, I love the way you talk about the heart. So that is true. We can think with the heart, even. Because I do hear the thoughts that come into my mind. They are not coming from my brain in a sense of logical, planning, analytical stuff, systematic things. Sometimes it's most of the time actually, it's very warm and it feels like music. And it's just, there was a quality to it that resonates love. This to do, of course, we connect love to the heart, but I don't know if it's the physical heart. It seems like it's a heart mind per se. That's not really in the body. We might feel there, but it's everywhere, and it can be. We can access that when we meditate. Do you meditate? I was about to ask before and I forgot.
Yeah, to be honest, since I was a kid, as I told you, I loved sports, and everything revolved around me and my body. And I've been a very hyperactive person, since I was
Yeah,
born. I was like that. So I do meditate, but the way I meditate is walking and through
yeah,
movement. Through the movement of my body, I'm able to find these flow states in my mind where I completely disconnect from my thoughts. I'm not able to meditate when sitting down or being still. That It's really difficult for me,
right.
to be honest. So the way I meditate is repeating the same action over and over again, and the same thing without any difference, like walking. It's one step at a time. So that allows me to be able to disconnect. Same sometimes when I go to the gym and I'm working out in a class, following the professor, but just 1 hour of doing that physical class with my body, it takes my mind to another dimension. That's how I meditate.
Thank you for being genuine. Yes, right. Because meditation is not for everyone. I do. I talk to a lot of people who are yoga teachers, meditation teachers, and they say that some people they have so much trauma too. They cannot trust them on the content of the mind, so they can't really stay still and engage with all that. So it depends on the person. I don't meditate anymore. I used to, but I stopped to. I love making the idea that we can make life a meditation, an active every moment, right?
Yes.
Being aware, in
Yeah.
touch with the heart mind.
Yeah, and I always say that, in life, there's no rule,
Mm,
there's no manual that says you have to live this way. And that's also part of like what I teach in coaching, which is everything is bio individual. Each
right.
person is different, so each person has to build the life that works for them in every sense. Even meditation, there's not a way to meditate. Even like you don't have to become a
Yes.
monk to be
Right.
spiritual. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So we have to ask ourselves every day when we wake up, what do I need what do I need right now? What do I need today? And honor that need,
Mm,
because we are in constant change. It's impossible to always be doing the same thing. So sometimes in life it could be easier to be meditating every day, and sometimes other things happen that don't allow us to meditate every day, and that is fine too. And we don't have to be hard with ourselves because we are not doing that we want. Um, but what I also found very interesting, which is a way of meditation for me, is
yeah.
journaling,
Yeah.
every day. And this is something that I learned from another coach called Nora Mosenko. And she's the one that taught me about the intelligence in the brain and the heart. And what another term that she taught me, which I find very interesting, is we all have emotional compost and we need to take it out,
Mm,
right? We need to externalize and vocalize some things that we have inside for those things not to turn into toxic and manifest in other ways that we don't have control over. So this emotional compost, we literally have to vomit that in a paper with our pen and just write whatever comes, you know, free. There's no right or wrong way to journal. So that's also a way of meditating for me.
wow, I love that, Roberta. It's so you take in consideration as a coach, which is really beautiful and necessary, the uniqueness of humans, and then also this overflowing
Yeah.
kind of dynamic of change, this movement. It's always changing. We are nature, right?
And nature changes
Yeah.
constantly, like even our emotions, like waves, everything is
Yep.
oscillating or like cycles. The period for women, the emotions, they're also like a cycle that oscillates. The circadian
Right.
rhythms, we have to like be able to be in touch with these changes and don't try to be static.
Yeah, trying to control them. So I love the word
Hmm.
acceptance. They use this. I mean, it's a beautiful concept that I used. Of course, it was one of my guiding principles: acceptance and then self-love, and then on and on and on until now, which is really out there. The stuff that I have realized. But it's amazing how, for me, everything goes back to spirituality. But of course, when I talk to anyone who is more scientific and more analytical, academic, it kind of goes back. We come to the same understanding of what is to be a human being, which is this constant movement, and also the uniqueness, finding, like you said beautifully, finding what works for us. What kind of life I wanted to live.
Hmm.
It has to fit within my own standards. You actually use that word too. I love the non-judgmental. Somewhere in your bio, I think you have to, I think it was here in your bio somewhere.
Hmm.
So creating our own standards for living, and then also being open, being receptive for whatever could come up. You see, because I think that we suffer because we're always trying to control somehow reality in our own lives and expecting too much.
That's what I was gonna say, like
Yes.
expectations,
Yes.
that's like the main problem of us humans.
Yeah.
Also, I want to add something to the word, to the importance of the
Yeah.
word acceptance, because I think this is key. Acceptance is the sewer system for our brain to be able to let go and take everything out,
Yeah.
because we don't need to cure anything. We don't need to cure. We need to accept. That's what it is. Because
Yeah.
cure is like you're sick, you need to cure yourself, and it's not that. It's about accepting.
True.
So what I think happens with expectations and in the current world we live in is, we are humans, we have problems, and when we have a problem that arises, we want to solve this problem. So basically the world and the system that we live, it's unhealthy by default. So the system says, oh, you have this problem, here are all these solutions
Yeah.
that I have for you. So we humans say, okay, I'm going to try this solution. And you wanna lose some weight, so you try this yoga class. That's one of the solutions the system offers. But you're not good at it, you don't like it, whatever it is that happens, you're not able to reach that expectations that you have when they show you all these things. Even with social media, we are watching all these yogi professionals, this, that, and then we go do it and we never reach those expectations that we have, which are unrealistic. So we get frustrated, and then we go back to the problem again, and then we try to solve it with another way. We also can't reach any of those unrealistic
Mm.
expectations, and then we get frustrated again. So we get trapped in this cycle of trial and error. But the problem is the unrealistic expectations we set ourselves too.
Mm.
And it's a matter of keep on trying until you find something that truly fulfills you, you know what I mean? But
Yes.
after being frustrated so many times, we even lose value as a human being, because we also validate ourselves for external things, which is also a problem.
Yes, 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 a billion times to that. So I love the way you say that. So the solution for the problem, for our problems, is kind of already laid out. It's already there, and then we're just picking one at a time. Oh, it might be one day success, right? Making it a lot of money, and then another one might be looking really good physically. Another one, who knows? So you're right. You see, but it is looking within. We have to go within ourselves. So we can't find solutions out there because we're so unique. Of course, if we don't have money, the solution is would be fulfilled by having doing something that could get us financial success in that sense. I really believe also that there is something about basic needs. If human beings don't have that, then they're not open to other things. Like I noticed that now it seems like we're getting into this time where more people are interested in spirituality and consciousness and expanding to the heart mind, to the heart intelligence. So that might be because we have reached already the point of, what the human brain can do, with all this technology and all this. I mean, we have done so much, but we have not found solution for
Yeah,
basic well-being issues like happiness, peace. How can you be peaceful? How can you be more flexible so you accept, whatever it is that comes up without fighting it and creating issues?
I think it's very important what you just said about, because happiness is a very tricky word. We say, like, I want to reach happiness, so we are in this constant pursuit to reach that thing. And if we never reach that thing, it's like a rat running
Yes,
behind a
yes.
cheese.
Yeah.
In reality, the true happiness for me is that flexibility to be able to embrace dark moments and light and happiness. To be able to integrate yourself with your dark side. I always call this, my uncle always said this, and I think it's very
Yeah.
interesting. He says that your shadow, your dark side, it's called the loser, you
Mm,
know? So you gotta
mm,
make best friends with your loser, because your loser is also you. We're winners, we're loser, we are everything. I think that's true happiness.
wow, I love that. Yeah, you did mention that in your bio somewhere. You sent a material to me about the sports, right? It's all about winning and losing. So yeah, you're taught that way. You see, almost like programmed to think that way. I always want to
Yeah,
win, and
yeah.
then it's always this idea of trying to be happy all the time. I really always think about peace, inner peace, which has to do with acceptance, with surrender, letting go, just keep shedding, letting it go of things. And then at some point, like I let go of, I used to compete to be a personal trainer and compete in fitness. I mean, it was really, really not a good thing. I couldn't fit in. It was just so, I didn't know at some point what I was doing there when I was competing with that in New York. I used to live in New York for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found myself kind of staying away from everything. I was not working out anymore. I didn't care about any of that because I was trying to find that balance. And now my husband, he works out at the gym. He lifts a lot of weight, and I used to too. And then I go with him, and then my body's kind of automatically
Yeah.
looking the way, not the way it used to look, but kind of muscular, kind of shape. You see, that's a label to me, but it feels good. I put my music and I
Mm-hmm.
just kind of dance around the gym, really. I'm not really thinking about anything else. But that's, you see, it takes sometimes going through extremes to find balance, right, Roberta?
Yes.
To
Yes.
understand what
Yes.
balance is. We need to go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
The shadow is a very interesting topic, though. But before that, I want to, because we don't have a lot of time, I want to go
Yes.
through your programs. I know you offer, I have them here. Mindful motion. So this is 6 months body and health transformation. You have Empower 360, and also the program called Beyond the Plate is 6 months eating habits transformation, and then Quit Quest. This is a habit hack transformation. Talk to me about this program so the audience knows what they're about.
Yes. First of all, yeah, my mindful motion program is about, it's a 6 month program that involves a 1 hour walk and also having a health coaching session at the same time. But now here in New York City, it's
Yeah.
winter, so walking outside, it works for some people, but for other people it doesn't. So mainly I'm focusing on my two other programs, which it's in person or online, but it's a 6 month program of, it could be one session a week. A health coaching session could be 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Yeah.
Where in the Beyond the Plate program, we work mainly everything related with eating habits, but not in the sense of me being a nutritionist and tell you like you have to eat 120 grams of chicken and vegetables, but it's completely the opposite. It's basically liberating yourself from
Mm.
diets, accepting your body, whatever it is, trying to connect with your body, um, and basically relearning and re-educating yourself uh, to to nurture yourself in different ways
Mm.
and be able to break those chains, that binds us to thoughts or beliefs that aren't real and are holding us back, mainly related to food. As I also went through a lot of many eating
Yeah,
disorders.
right.
Um,
Right.
and my other program, the Quit Quest, is mainly focused on habits transformation. If
Mm.
you want to, for example, quit smoking, whatever you want to, whatever habit you want to quit that's affecting your life, because a habit becomes unhealthy or a behavior becomes unhealthy when it becomes a compulsion because it's affecting your life in some way.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to quit some of these behaviors because they're they are like stuck to us, because maybe they remind us to something familiar, or it's how our brain has operated for so many years that that's why I come into place, as an accountability coach, also to guide and help my client in that journey.
Yeah.
Um, and also, a very interesting exercise I conduct is like an artist writes a manifesto about their piece of art, for example. I think we humans need to write a
Mm.
manifesto of
Mm.
ourselves, Like the question is, when are we operating at our best self? When are we operating and feeling good? So I call that the flow mode.
Yeah, I love that.
So being able to register and detect when we are in that flow mode, and we need to write this, like to describe what is that mode, how does it work, what are the characteristics, and also describe what happens when this mode is deactivated and when I go back to the unhealthy patterns. Because this is very helpful to be aware of the signals that are these little traits that we do and bring us back to the unhealthy ways, you
I
know?
love that. I mean, flow to me has everything to do with harmony. I mean, just being in
Hmm.
alignment, right, with life. And so, wow, I
Yeah.
love everything you do and the way you're doing with your experience that really, really can help a lot of people. Because there's something about going through the journey and being there and doing that that makes a huge difference. There's
Hmm.
something, the presence is different. Like listening to you, I mean, it's just so present. It's just so real. It's you're not talking from something that you have learned only.
Yeah.
You hear it's in your body. It's embodied.
And I think, that the world we live in it's a very unhealthy
Mm,
society, and the world will not help you do the right choices. It's
yeah,
the other way around. The world will tell you to just choose that, maybe that will fix your
yeah,
pain temporarily. And in reality, we need to advocate for like emotions. We need to advocate for people to feel the
yes.
emotions, and the that's what I feel is my job in this world, or what I want to like bring back to the world.
Yeah, it's beautiful, Roberta. Thank you. Yeah, we do need that. All of us. We need to be reminded and we need to know, we need to engage with of that, of being human from this more elevated view, which is holistic. It's sacred to me. It's very sacred. I, gosh, we almost there with the time. I have so many things. Your Instagram caught my attention. Some of the posts that you have there, and I know I have the talking points which we went through. But you said something just before going through the programs about the shadow
Hmm.
side and the darkness that both it's us, right? It's us, of course. Can you somehow elaborate on how can we make peace with that? What is the best way to integrate the dark side of us?
First of all, I want to say like what I do as a technique, and this is something I repeat every day of my life. It's like my mantra. I wrote this and I
Yeah.
want to share it. That's why, because it relates to what you said, and then I will explain what is the best way, which is very simple but very difficult to take
Right.
to action. But my mantra that I repeat every day is, I embody the role of a conductor, channeling light and serving as a catalyst for generating potent and positive energy. Rather than judging or condemning my darkness, I embrace it with open arms and understanding. I nurture self compassion that acknowledges both my strengths and weaknesses, directing my attention toward what I'm capable of.
Mm,
That's what I repeat every day.
mm,
And it's what we are talking about. Like, rather than judging or condemning my darkness, you have to sit yourself, close your eyes, and visualize like literally a clone of yourself in front of you. That's your
mm,
shadow self. And like, instead of looking at it with like disgust, or with like, why are you doing this to me? Why are you so bad? Why are you whatever? You have to smile at it and embrace it with open arms, and visualize how you are
mm,
hugging
yeah.
that person with love, and literally feel the love. And that's the first step to loving yourself
Yeah.
fully, you know what I mean? And it's an exercise we have to repeat every day. It's not going to be easy the first time.
Wow, it's so beautiful. I love the mantra. Did you create that mantra yourself just by insights and
Yeah, I created that myself from what I think and how I operate, and I created it. I wrote it, and I also wrote it because I like repeating that every day to be able to channel and create
yeah.
positive energy,
Mm,
because that brings positive energy towards yourself as well.
yes, 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 yeah. If it is here, yeah, it tends to kind of touch others, right? It almost like it's a transmutation, isn't it? Transmission of
Exactly,
energy. Everything's
exactly,
energy from that perspective.
exactly.
Oh my God, Roberto, we're almost at the end. I do have the ending questions for you. I want to mention your website and the Instagram account. So
Mm-hmm.
the website is fillthevoid.club, and the Instagram handle is the same, actually, isn't it? Fillthevoid.club. So I have, oh, you have, I
Mm-hmm.
love your Instagram account. I love the video interviews that you have done too. I see all these amazing people that you talk to. Gosh, there's nothing better, is there, to talk about like incredible people?
Yeah.
I mean, they're so knowledgeable. And oh yeah, I remember Instagram. You said that I learned to validate myself for who I am and by my own standards. That caught my attention immediately. Of course, you said a lot more there. It's so I have those two links on the interview profile. But my last question to you, let's see, because we don't have enough
Hmm.
time. Perhaps two questions. What is freedom to you? What is like to be free? If you can describe that.
In my opinion, I love this question. And freedom, in my opinion, is being able to free yourself from any old habits. You know, when we humans, we feel uncomfortable or something bad happens, we feel anxiety because something went wrong
Yeah.
at work. And we go like to that thing. It could be a behavior, an action, whatever it is, to just cope with an emotion. So, in my opinion, freedom means releasing and being free of those coping mechanisms that make us feel
Mm.
good. But that is only done by embracing the uncomfortable feelings and embracing the darkness that we were talking about, and
Uh,
embracing
uh,
the pain. And I wanna end sharing also a quote that relates to freedom and how what is the ultimate source of freedom. And it's a quote of Cory Muscara, and it says, "The key is not about creating another ladder. It is about recognizing that you're already on a never-ending ladder to nowhere.
mm,
And what keeps bound to cycles of suffering is an addiction to the idea that the next run will make this life less of an unpredictable, chaotic mess that inherently
mm,
is.
mm.
Spiritual freedom comes from relaxing into instability. Only when you embrace pain, sorrow, and confusion can it become the source of your freedom."
Wow, I love that. Never heard that one before, but it's really relates to me. I mean, yeah, it resonates so true. I love that. That ongoing letter to nowhere. That's really, I mean, it sounds funny, but
Yeah,
it's
that's life.
right, right. You know, a lot of times I say, I mean, my mantra, it's one only, and it's a very simple one that for most people it's not easy to understand,
Hmm.
but you probably will. We are what we are looking for. So that's something that has been said already in a lot of spiritual, traditions, but we are
Yes.
already everything. There's nothing missing. Nothing, nothing. I know the mind doesn't get it, but isn't it amazing if we just live life like that? I'm already it. There's nothing else.
Yes. I love that. I love
It's
that mantra
powerful,
as
right,
well.
Roberta? Ah,
Very
yeah, I just
powerful.
kind of
Yes.
rest in it every moment of the day. And it is a practice. It's something that we need to keep reminding
Hmm.
the brain, the mind, because the mind goes back to, how it was programmed. So we're almost at the end. I want to thank you again for your beautiful presence in this reality, doing what you're doing, sharing wisdom, being this wise young woman, just kind of taking, a lot of people by surprise in a way. But thank you so much for being you. That's what I want to say, for embracing in you. Just, it's beautiful.
Thank you for having me, truly, for having this space for people to express themselves and being able to connect with many voices to be able to help many people. So,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Roberta. It's so beautiful. So I'll have the links again, the website fillthevoid.club. There'll be, and your Instagram will be on this podcast interview. And I would love to be in touch, of course. But for now, take good care of yourself and we'll talk soon. We'll be in touch again. Bye. Bye,
Thank
Roberta.
you.